Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hard Knocks debuted the 2021 season last night on HBO. I watched it, featuring America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And it's funny, this morning, USA Today had a headline, 5 takeaways from Hard Knocks. I started reading it. I'm like, what am I reading this for? I don't need your 5 takeaways. I got a couple. Number one, I was not the biggest Dak Prescott fan. I think people that watch this show know that. I'm less of a Dak Prescott fan coming out of watching this show. What a whiner. What a whiner. Look, I understand you want to take every rep. I get it. You can't take every single rep. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He was very upset
that he couldn't.
That he was pulled early in this training camp a couple of weeks ago because they want to give the backups some work. Danny Bonaducci, the backup quarterback. Well, Ben DiNucci is his name, but I call him Danny Bonaducci, which means nothing to you, do you? He was the star of the Partridge Family. Anyways, that was one. Dak, come on, stop whining. Let these other guys have some work. And then, of course, he ends up getting hurt. 2, the biggest one was Jarrah. When he was talking to the team, I thought it was the head therapist. You said it was the team doctor.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
Yeah. So he's writing with an HB pencil these notes on Dak, talking with the medical staff on the phone. And we all take away different things. But my thing was this. He's eating a McDonald's Egg McMuffin, Jarrah Jones. And people are saying, well, what's odd about that? He's worth $7-8 billion. How did he not have a Red Seal chef at his ready? You know, here you go, Mr. Jones. We, with his choice, an omelet station.
Yeah, exactly. He's got Benedict or something like.
Right. An omelet station, a guy cutting a roast at the end of the table. Jerry, when you're done with the trainer, we have your choice here of ham, roast beef. Do you want that in your omelet, Mr. Jones?
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
how did this fly get in there? Somebody got a fly swatter?
Yeehaw!
It was a shot of Prairie Jesus is really what it was.
It was.
You'd think we would be getting used to it, but we never get used to it. We never get tired of good things happening.
This life doesn't get old.
No. It was a nice little distraction from the real world, and here we are today for a coffee session.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Rick Regan, the big voice guy at the RP Show. We're live at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination, and we're going to entertain you. That's a guarantee over the next 2 hours here on Game Plus Television, live streaming, your favorite podcast platform, if that's your thing, and WQEE Radio in Metro Atlanta. Shout out Ryan O'Radio running the show there. Darren Moose DuPont rejoins. He's traveled safely home from Palm Springs, California. He's got back in one piece. And Moose, in 30 seconds or less, how was your trip to Southern California and the old people city?
That's what I was. Yeah, it was. But you know what? That's my pace, man. I like to just relax, take it slow. I get what you say now. You know, it's kind of the Florida thing. When you're out there, the weather is so consistently perfect. So, yeah, it was awesome, but it's also good to be home.
Good to hear. Listen, when I say about entertaining you, I got a story for you. I don't think I told you this on the phone. Stop me if I did. Yesterday, just after we got off the air, lady comes running up to me here at the Grey Eagle, and you got to come down here just to check it out. But she goes, Rod. I had no idea who she was. She goes, I'm from Regina, Shirley. And I've been gambling in here all morning, and I heard your voice all morning. I heard your voice, and I came up here, and I saw this. Is this what you're doing now? And I said, what do you mean this? And she said, are you entertaining people in bars?
How about that?
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, I said we're also on national television, which we're very proud of, the Game Plus Television Network, channel 924 on TELUS across Alberta and BC, and the rest of the country on various cable carriers in 31 U.S. states. But yes, I'm just playing my little piano and singing my little songs. So I just wanted to say, Shirley was so excited. I found you. Here we go.
Awesome.
So that happened yesterday, Moose. Yeah. Did we hit the... No, we don't hit the horn yet. We didn't tell you who's coming up. Sports mental strength coach Zach Krysak's going to be with us a little later on in hour one. It's a short interview, not a long one, but it's going to be a great one. And I specifically say, if you have any interest in being successful in sports, or for that matter, life, and you have maybe a young person in your life that could benefit from the mental side of the game, this is what Zach does. He's an NCAA baseball player. He's an original Saskatchewan guy. I'm really looking forward to that chat in hour one. And hour two, Clark answered the bell. I said, can we get some Oilers people on because the Flames have bitten the dust? Clark answered the bell. And we got Dean Ducky Millard coming up a little later on, the longtime host of the Oilers post-game radio show. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, can you hit the quick subscribe?
How about that?
Well,
I like it.
Just 3 games in the NHL on Wednesday night, but they were interesting ones here in Calgary. Nikita Zadorov scored a hat trick, and the Calgary Flames ended their season with a 3-1 win over the San Jose Sharks. They call him Bobby Zadorov, because he likes to go end-to-end on these patented rushes. Last night he scored thrice, big Russian. And though the game was dog crap, it was boring in my mind. Dustin Wolf got the first start of his career in goal for Calgary, got the win, so that was exciting. But the Flames are done for the year. And as I said yesterday, you weren't on the air with me, Moose, but I'm already tired of the speculation. Will they or won't they? But it is what it is. It'll probably come up today. What's next for the Calgary Flames? But the other thing is I'm seeing things from the various media, both locally and nationally, saying things that I know are flat out wrong. I know that they're wrong. So I guess I just sit back and listen to it and say they're the experts, I guess. But we'll see where it goes. Elsewhere, Wyatt Johnson scored twice. Tyler Seguin had a goal and a helper, and the Dallas Stars beat the St. Louis Blues 5-2 to take the Central Division lead. How about this one, Moose? I was reading the NHL PR game notes today. Dallas, Colorado, and Minnesota have all been in first place in the Central Division since April 1st. All 3 of them. What a race. And the Islanders beat Montreal 4-2 to clinch. Did you have any takeaways from the National Hockey League's third last night of play?
Yeah, it was awesome. When I found out that Dustin Wolf was going to get called up for the start, actually, to be honest, I got a little nervous. I'm like, the Wranglers are doing well. Ooh. He's doing great. Do you want to put him up in the show right now and shatter his confidence, with this team in front of him that hasn't been playing very well? This could be a tough spot for him, but he stepped up, played really well, was the game's first star, and he's now planted, I'm sure, the question in the Flames fan base of maybe he should be the number 1 guy next year and earn it. We'll see what he does in the American Hockey League playoffs. And then with the Islanders beating Montreal, I had my eyes on that one a little bit too. Beating Montreal, the Canadians made it interesting, kind of at the end of that second period into the third. But, I know we'll talk about the Pittsburgh thing, but for the Islanders to clinch, that was good for them last night.
Oh, do you still have me? You do. Okay. I don't know if it was a internet glitch on my end or yours. Hey, this is the most interactive program on television, radio, and streaming, and I just want to tell you that Jeff, the hotelier to the stars, the hotel magnate, as you know, has written. He says, hey, Rod, I'm happy to be watching your show from Weimer Lake, Minnesota. You and Serena should join me for a week at the lake this summer. Approved. Let's do it. Approved. See, Moose, you and I used to get invited to these things. Not anymore. I'm here for it. Thank you, Jeff. Hope you're enjoying the show. Now, I'll have to check. I'll check. I can only speak for 50% of that answer. Poll question today for our friends at Key Auto Group. Key Chevrolet Buick GMC is celebrating its Spring-tastic event with 3.49% financing up to 60 months for the 2023 Buick Envision. Conditions apply. Go to keychev.com for more details. This actually came up yesterday, was teased by our co-host Jock Wilson from QR Radio Calgary. He said, should the NHL adopt the NBA's play-in format? I'm a yes. But I just checked the Twitter results of this poll question for Key Auto Group, Darren, and over 80%, 82% in fact, are saying no, the NHL should not adopt the play-in. I don't know why it is, Darren, that I always look at things differently than everybody else. I guess that's why so many people argue with me, right? Because I think they should. I think more teams interested down the home stretch, more home dates, make more money. What's not to like? I think it's people just fear change more than anything else. That's what it is. But I shouldn't speak for you. Are you voting yes or no on should the NHL adopt the NBA's play-in format?
I'm going back and forth on this so much, Rod. When they had the lockout and the bubble and they had the expanded playoff, I loved it, and I was in favor of it, and I thought we should keep this. But the NHL playoffs are long enough as it is. And now I think about it, I'm like, no, when we had, the Oilers as an 8 seed making their way and the Flames doing their thing, I think that, there's something to be said there about, giving them a chance as to be in the playoffs. They earned it through the regular season. And I like the playoff format the way it is. I think I'm going to vote no now. I've shifted. I've come around on this. And I like where it is right now.
Well, it's a fun debate. I'm not sure there is a right or wrong answer. And I'm going to get to what happened with the Raptors in the NBA play-in game last night in a second. But I'm not done yet with hockey because it is Canada after all, and there's a big to-do being made about the fact the Pittsburgh Penguins and Washington Capitals aren't going to be making the playoffs. Now, on Calgary radio today, it was all about, will Brad Treliving come back as GM or Daryl Sutter? And I'm like, tired of it? I know a lot of people aren't, but I am. So I switched over to NHL Network. Well, my guys, Mike Johnson and Scott Laughlin, were talking about this lustily. And Mike Johnson of TSN, co-host that great show with Scott Laughlin, said, what do you expect out of the Penguins? I think it's been, is it 15 years in the playoffs, the longest playoff run in the 4 major leagues, 3 Stanley Cup wins in that time? Are they not allowed a year of missing the playoffs? Does it say that something's wrong? And I'm just sitting here from a fan and an outsider's perspective going, I'd like to see some new teams in the playoffs. I'm down with it. I don't have a problem with it at all. Why again, people don't like change, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the case. For me, it's more of a sentimental thing. It's sad that Crosby and Malkin and Letang and the Pittsburgh Penguins won't be in the playoffs because when they're in, they're always entertaining. There's always a chance. They've got some great rivalries, whether it's with the Devils or the Rangers, in the Eastern Conference. I think it would have been fun, but you know what? You're right. Like to go back in time and say, look, this is the only time they missed the playoffs, and you said 15 years. It is good for hockey that there's some new teams in the playoffs right now, and you know what? This might make the Penguins hungrier in the offseason, and I'm sure they'll come back strong. But more than anything, it shows the parity right now that exists in hockey. There's so much of it.
I just don't understand. And it's not even really complaining per se. It's going to be weird that these guys are. Yeah. Same person. I'm sick of seeing the Patriots in a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Or the Calgary Stampeders in the Grey Cup. Like, Mike, what do you want? By the way, our NHL top 5, bottom 5 are coming up a little later on. We promoted we were going to do it yesterday, Moose, but you weren't here for the program yesterday, and I wanted to do it with you today. Yeah. It'll be a little later on. But some of the new teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs include the New Jersey Devils, who have been awful forever. The Rangers went to the conference final last year, but they're young. They're going to be in the playoffs for a long time moving forward, as you know. Seattle Kraken. Now, we're talking about the Western Conference here. Is that not exciting? To be honest, I'm a little tired of Sid and Ovi. So I guess I take too much to heart when I hear people whining on social media, but I think it's a good thing. And by the way, I got really good friends that work for both teams, specifically Washington. They've both won Stanley Cups, so it's not like they're sitting there chasing a ring either. Okay? Both the Penguins and the Capitals. So just enjoy the hockey. Quit your bitching. Moving on. NBA, Moose, because we're the big NBA experts. Fred VanVleet says it's going to take him at least 2 weeks to process the season-ending loss his Raptors suffered Wednesday night. Toronto went up big in the first half, but Zach LaVine and the Chicago Bulls clawed their way back and took the game 109-105. One-game showdown play-in. Fred VanVleet had 26 points, 12 rebounds. So a moment on that. I was watching the Blue Jays and the Tigers. I didn't go to the Flames game. I was okay to take a night off. It's going to be a big weekend. I got to put a lot of miles on this weekend. I was just happy to put my feet up. And I'm like, what am I watching the Blue Jays for? Get about 150 more of these, and the Raptors are in a one-game showdown in the playoffs. I'm no NBA expert, but I like the action. I like the drama. And they had a big lead when I flipped it over, and then it was literal panic from the broadcasters, Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong, when they realized the lead was evaporating. The Bulls were taking it over. They choked them right off. The story I know was DeMar DeRozan's daughter. That was the biggest story coming out of that, and we could chat about that if you want. But at the end of the game, I think it was Matt Devlin who said, the Raptors were walking off the court absolutely dejected. He goes, I don't like this play-in format, but you can't argue with the drama that it's created. Have I got you back voting yes again? That was awesome last night in Scotiabank Arena, save for the result.
Look, I was in airports traveling yesterday, but I was, on a layover during this game. And there was pockets of people around every TV watching it, trying to find out what was going on, trying to get the updates.
Who'd want that?
It does. It creates a ton of drama. And I'm getting the update. Oh, a halftime the Raptors are up. Away we go. I'm like, that's great. And I'm tuning in on the second half, and I'm watching that lead just go away. And I'm just, I got into it. I told you yesterday I was at a 5, or a couple days ago, I was at a 5 for excitement level. But as that game got in the second half, I was probably an 8. I'm like ready for a Raptors run, and they blew it. So you're right. It is very exciting, the play-in format, and unfortunately for the Raptors, not their night.
So again, why don't we want the play-in format? Because people don't like change? Okay. By the way, I have no problem going back and forth with our guy Jeff in Weimer Lake, Minnesota. He says, really exciting for new teams in the playoffs. It pains me my caps are out, and it's going to cost me a pizza. But it's going to be the most exciting playoffs in years. We bet a tower pizza on my Florida Panthers and his Washington Capitals, and you know how that turned out. How about that? By the way, the Raptors weren't the only team last night on the court. Oklahoma City kept its season alive with a 123-118 win over the New Orleans Pelicans. Hamilton's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the Thunder with 32 points. It eliminated the Pelicans, and now the Thunder advanced to play Minnesota on Friday night. The winner will claim the 8th seed in the NBA playoffs. So we'll just keep rolling here in the time we have before the break. The Toronto Blue Jays have posted wins in 7 of their last 8 games after rallying to edge the Detroit Tigers 4-3. George Springer drove in Danny Jansen with a winning run in the 10th inning. We're following along now with the Blue Jays storylines because we follow the Blue Jays when they're winning. Chris Bassett goes to the mound tonight for the Jays as they look to sweep the series. Righty Spencer Turnbull is expected to get the start for Detroit. Whether you say it was the worst Blue Jays debut ever or not, when Bassett gave up 4 home runs in his Blue Jays debut at St. Louis. That was the most home runs ever given up by a Blue Jay in his team debut. So we'll see what he does tonight. That's the storyline. What's Bassett do tonight? So trust me, when we're into it, we can be into it. When we come back, we'll continue with more hockey. Dub Hub, World Women's Hockey quarterfinals. The playoffs begin today. We're going to look at these Stanley Cup pairings and whatever randoms. Sports mental coach Zach Krysak coming up, and Dean Millard as well, the longtime Oilers radio host from Edmonton. We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino in Calgary on the Game Plus television network, streaming, and WQEE, the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. To Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pie. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination. By the way, a hockey note, how you can help out. SJHL fans, get your tickets now for the SJHL raffle. That is the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. And it's your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side. Tickets are available now at the website sjhlraffle.ca. They're on sale until April 23rd. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. All proceeds from the raffle support the SJHL and its member teams. If I said it too fast, it's sjhlraffle.ca. Don't wait. Get your tickets today. Darren Moose DuPont joins us, from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. Just some more points here. Canada is back in action at the Women's World Hockey Championship tonight, taking on Sweden in a quarterfinal. They were perfect in the preliminary round, winning all 4 matchups. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the WHL second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs get rolling Friday. Saskatoon at Red Deer, Game 1. Moose Jaw at Winnipeg, Game 1. We're not going to talk about that now. I know it doesn't pertain to the national audience, but later on, if people want to chime in with their thoughts and questions on that, I got time for it. But it's interesting here from the text line, 902-518-3033. Wilf watches us every day in Steinbach, Manitoba. He's texted in and says, "Hi, Rod and Moose. The NHL playoffs at 16 teams is good, but the format needs to change. 1 versus 16, etc." It's a coffee discussion. Darren's drank a gallon already, as you can see. I got mine going. Look at the excitement that we've had over the last, 6 to 8 weeks in the National Hockey League. Me and my guy, Jeff, who's in Weimer Lake, Minnesota right now, going back and forth on who's going to get in, who's not. Darren, this morning, NHL PR website, the game notes, tonight's penultimate night of the NHL's regular season. I'm immediately Googling, what's penultimate mean? It's next to last. We have 2 nights left in the regular season, Darren, and only 1 playoff pairing is set, Toronto-Tampa. Please tell me why anybody would think this format needs to change.
I know. It is incredibly exciting. You know, I think, the thought about getting rid of the divisional matchups and trying to create, when you're 1 or 2 in the conference, if you're all from the same division, moving down. But no, it is so exciting right now. And I've thought a lot about how I would change the schedule if I could. One thought is, can you flex games? Like coaches have always said, 2 points at the beginning of the year matter just as much as 2 points at the end of the year. But what if they didn't? Like, what if we all didn't play the same schedule? What if at game 75, we created a new schedule that, for example, in the West, would have made Winnipeg, Nashville, and Calgary play each other a few more times. And Edmonton and LA and Vegas play each other a few more times to really go head-to-head with the teams you're battling. That could be really interesting. But at the same time, do we really need to change it? Because as you said, we're here right at the end, and all the games matter anyways. So is there really a problem that needs to be fixed? I don't know if there is.
Now, what's funny about that is Wilf is in Steinbach, Manitoba. He is, I'm certain, a Winnipeg Jets fan. And it's the teams it's the fans of their team miss the playoffs. They want to see a format change. You know what I mean? But here's a Jets fan. His team got in, and he still wants to see a change. Where's the kid? Trevor in Winnipeg writes that he says, who's the biggest underdog in these Stanley Cup playoffs? The Jets. This is another very good point this morning that I was listening on NHL radio with Scott Laughlin and Mike Johnson. We can sit here and say, and you saw fans say, who cares if the Jets or Flames get in? They're just going to lose anyways. I'm in round 1. I'm seeing a few fans of the Florida Panthers saying the same thing. Why I listen to what people say is the biggest question. But what Mike Johnson was saying was just getting into the playoffs is a massive for a franchise. Not too big of one, but for any fan of the Winnipeg Jets to say, oh, we're going up against Vegas, we're going to get steamrolled, that's dumb because it is a brand new season. And I guess, Darren, here's the thing. Here's your round 1 as it stands today. Subject to change. You tell me what you think out of this will be the upset, okay? Of the 8 series. Boston, Florida.
Interesting.
Just say yes or no.
I could see Florida upsetting Boston. But if I'm betting,
that's 2 of us.
Yeah.
How about that? We got hung up on it. I'm taking Florida to win because that's my team. Toronto, Tampa, you're taking the Leafs to win. And by the way, they're the higher seeded team. So Carolina Islanders, who do you like?
They're going to the Cup.
Probably, stop it. New Jersey Devils, New York Rangers. Subway Series. How awesome would that be?
That's going to be
Rangers
so
winning that one in the block.
Yeah, I
Rangers
got the
winning
Rangers
that
too
one.
in that one. Yeah.
The Dallas Stars and the Seattle Kraken. 4 games. Dallas. No?
Seattle's my biggest underdog in the whole playoffs. That was the question that came in. I think Seattle's the underdog. Even though they're not points-wise, I'll take Seattle.
You actually have a Seattle Kraken tracksuit, so yeah.
I do.
Colorado, Minnesota. That's a war. How many games?
Yeah.
6 games, he says. The man from Winter Sense. 6 games. Colorado?
Very
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
You?
Same. Yeah.
Vegas, Winnipeg. I got Vegas will win that one. Sorry, Winnipeg. Be a good
I'll
series,
take the
though.
Jets. I don't think they're an underdog because it wasn't, I mean, it feels like a year ago, but it wasn't that long ago. They were first in the Western Conference. They've got a talented team.
The Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings went 7 last year. What are we thinking this year?
Yeah, I like Edmonton too much. It might be over in 4 or 5.
Wow. Again, Dean Ducky Millard joining us next hour. The longtime host of Oilers pre- and post-game on TSN 1260 Edmonton. Regarding this format change, Wilf, you got to tell me, you're still watching on Game Plus TV right now on your Bell MTS cable. Why do you think the playoff format needs to change? Like Ryan's watching in Toronto. He says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is exciting. Jason in Red Deer says, we don't need a format change. Teams had a chance to make it. If they didn't, tough nuts. That's the exact thing. Calgary Flames, we talking about you. Chad in Winnipeg says the Blue Bombers post operating profit of $4.9 million in 2022. That was announced this morning by the Blue. And I should tease tomorrow's show since we're sitting here. Jay McNeil will be with us, the Calgary Stampeders president of business operations and longtime Stampeders offensive lineman out of Kent State. So as we are in the doldrums of the CFL offseason, we're not going to talk about it today, but we are going to be talking about it tomorrow. That, with the Bombers making all that money, and the Calgary Stampeders, by the way, offering tickets for as low as $15 per ticket. I've seen billboards in this town, whatever street it's on. I was driving home from the Saddle Dome the other night. It's a huge billboard. I want to say 2 stories high, probably, Darren. Stampeders tickets starting at $15. What do you think about that?
I think it's great.
Hey, Jill loves it. Jill loves it. How about you?
Yeah.
They all love it. Yeah.
As a business guy,
Go ahead.
I know what that means. I know that means the worst seat in the house, starting at, right? And it goes up from there. But that gets people in. And you know what? I saw this with the Tennessee Titans. They had a flex season ticket for the NFL starting at, this was a few years ago when they were trying to get ticket sales up, starting at like $400 a seat. And I'm like, that's incredible. Now, you didn't have the same seat all year, and it was to fill empty seats. And if there happened to be a sellout that game, you weren't guaranteed a seat. But it's creative ways to get people into the stadium. And I like that. If Calgary's going to go cheap and get some people in, really cool. That allows students to come to your games. It allows families a better opportunity to come. I like it.
Yeah, so cheap tickets is one thing, and then the next is giving them a reason to come to the games. Because people don't understand outside certain markets like Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, there's not a lot of talk about the CFL teams in those major markets. So getting those players out, getting them visible into the community, they're doing it right. We're going to talk about that with Jay McNeil tomorrow. Sean in Vancouver is watching on Game Plus television. Regarding the Raptors game last night, he says DeMar DeRozan's daughter screaming, help the Bulls win. That was so loud. We kept saying, who's constantly screaming during the free throws? If you were watching at an airport, I don't know if they have the sound on the television. You said everybody was crowded around no, they didn't. So you didn't see that.
No.
By the time I turned the game on, they had figured out who the little girl was that was screaming. And they were putting the camera on her. It was DeMar DeRozan's daughter, which ironically, I wonder if she wasn't born in Toronto. Like, I understand her dad is playing for the Bulls, but statistically, he's the greatest Raptor ever. And it's funny because some of our longtime viewers, they're like, Rod, you say you don't follow the NBA, but you know all the history and stuff. I didn't say I didn't like it. I didn't say I find it interesting. It's not something I'm going to watch 82 games out of the year. But last night while watching this, and I'm watching DeMar DeRozan lead the Bull along with Zach LaVine to this win, and I'm Googling, who's the best Raptor of all time? Statistically, it's DeMar DeRozan. Look it up. Single game points, single season points, you name it. Nobody can decide who the best Raptor is, by the way, of all time. There's a TSN article that says it's Kyle Lowry. Another one says it's Vince Carter. Another one had Kawhi Leonard as the number 2 all-time Raptor. I'm like, he was only there 1 year. And let's remember that DeMar DeRozan went in the trade for Kawhi Leonard. It's a wonderful discussion, but consider this for a second. The team's been there since, what, 95? And there's no definitive answer. Who's the greatest ever? What does that say?
Says there
You haven't had a real great
of
history.
Yeah, real great history. It does say you had some, a few good players through the organization, though, some great ones, that there is a debate. At least they're not searching for names. At least they can come up with 3 or 4 names that are in the conversation. That's a better thing. That's a good point. And I forgot. I think the TSN article was Kyle Lowry. Like, if you go and Google right now, greatest Raptor of all time, you'll get 5 articles pop up and 5 different greatest Raptors of all time. Yeah.
So as you say, and you could make a case for all of them. As I sit here today, probably I would say Vince Carter, Air Canada, but the team was junk his whole time. Is that his fault? No. Who's the greatest LA King of all time? Marcel Dion. Didn't win squat. Dan Marino of the NHL. At least I think he is. Some will say Wayne. And then some are going to say Dustin Brown, and right? Because the teams that actually did win a Stanley Cup. It's a very wonderful discussion. By the way, I think next hour, Moose, when you come back, I want to talk about this. People like promotions in sports. Colin in Ottawa says, guaranteed win night is a great promo that the Elks president Victor Cui came up with and implemented. He didn't come up with that. Kevin Gallant came up with it with the Regina Pats in the 80s. He's the first. I am sure Kevin stole it from somebody too. But Skulski out there with the BC Lions, he did it and fell flat on his face. But you see the Rough Riders came out with their list of themed nights for this upcoming season, 10 of them in the CFL. I want to talk about what the most memorable ones are for you. There was one Major League Baseball team that had battery night. They were handing out batteries at the front door of the stadium. That was smart. Fans were throwing them at the players. What are your favorite all-time promotions? Like the country night, First Nations night, the cultural night, the 80s night. Those are all good. But what are the ones that are somewhat regrettable but very memorable? Let's talk about that in hour 2. But Zach Krysak joins us next. Think about it, Moose. We'll see you in about 25 minutes. We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on the Satina Nation, on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube, and WQEE, the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop staffed by PGA of Canada professionals is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's the RP Show live from Calgary's entertainment destination, the Great Eagle Resort and Casino. And by the way, everybody, our poll question today for Key Auto Group: get a new or pre-owned vehicle that fits you at Key Auto Group. They'll treat you right every time, and it's all just a click away at keyautogroup.ca. Do you think the NHL should adopt the NBA's play-in format? I'm down as a yes. The Moose is down as a no. What are you down as? Well, 79% of you saying no, they shouldn't adopt that. That's stupid. We'll continue that discussion throughout the program. Zach Krysak is a sports mental coach, and I was on his podcast last week, The Grind Performance, and he joins us today. Zach, appreciate the time, man, and we don't have a lot of time today for what's a big topic, but in a minute or less, can you just tell our viewers and listeners your story and how you got into this mental strength coaching game?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, Rod, first off. So growing up, I was a multi-sport athlete, competing in a wide variety of sports, would eventually go on to compete as a college baseball player. And along that journey, I just realized how many of the different challenges you're faced along that way. So just trying to manage, the athletic schedule, the academic schedule along the way, and just realizing, how many other athletes, including myself, were dealing with mental health issues and challenges along that journey. So, after competing as a college baseball player, returning home, I wanted to create a resource, a brand, and a business in helping other athletes with the mental aspect of their game and performance so that they could achieve their highest potential, whether that be in their sports, studies, or life itself.
Well, I was on, good job, by the way, on that. And congratulations on your success in the field and doing it, because it's so important. And I was on your podcast last week, and I'm like, we'd never met. I'm like, this kid knows what he's talking about. And I work in this field on the recovery side, mental health and substance abuse, with athletes, but not just athletes. You are dealing with young athletes. What is it that parents don't know about this field that they should know for their kids?
Well, like we were kind of chatting about last week on the podcast, we were mentioning just the intangibles. So mental health, especially, is one of those things that you can't really see, right? So on the physical side of things, you can see if someone's strong, fit, in shape. But on the mental health side of things, it's very difficult. So from that parent standpoint, it's just really addressing it and becoming aware of it and being able to talk about it, especially, as a young athlete, being able to be open and talk about our struggles. Because along the journey, whatever sport it may be, life itself, it's going to be challenges. You're going to face that pain, adversity along the way, but being able to be open, address it and being able to find the solutions, whether it be through coaching, resources, whatever it may be, and be able to move forward and see the results you truly desire.
Wow. Well, you asked me a question I've thought about a lot since, and it is, with all the people that I work with, is there one common trait in all of them? And there is. But that's my story. I'm going to flip that back on you. Of all the young people you're dealing with in mental strength, for the ones that are successful, is there one common trait that you've found in all of them?
When I really think about it, just what separates the elite from the average is one thing, and that's their mindset. Especially as you get to those higher levels of competition, whether it be in sports, studies, just life itself, is having that mental piece is so critical for success. That's what's going to allow you to navigate all those challenges, the failures, those setbacks that you're going to face along the way. And if you have that elite mindset, you're able to get the results you want. You're able to find solutions to all the problems. And it becomes a lot easier along that journey rather than staying stuck, getting into that negative headspace and that mindset over the long term.
Well, yeah, and the interesting thing with that is that people don't understand is that your mind is a muscle and it needs to be exercised. It needs to be improved, and you can do it. You've read all the books. You've read the same ones I have, and probably 10 times more. So let me ask you, it sounds great for us to sit and talk about it, but you got to put the plan into work. Where would somebody start right now if they thought, this sounds like something I'd like to do? Where do you begin? Because that stumps a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a great question. And again, it's never been easier in this day and age, especially with, social media, just the online world, is there's resources everywhere. That's the great thing, is you can essentially learn from some of the top minds in the world. Guys I look up to, guys I like reading about, learning from: Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, Brian Kane, for example, in this space. And being able to learn directly from them is a great resource. So, just being able to go online, type in this stuff and just being able to find those resources. But on the other side of things, finding a coach or someone that can really help you, especially on that mental side of things, because, most athletes only focus on the physical side of things. But again, it doesn't matter how talented, fast, strong you are. If you can't handle those pressures at the higher levels, it's going to be very difficult to get the results you want over the long term.
What's a typical day or week like for you? People see what I'm doing every day on the air, but they wouldn't see what a guy like you would do. Like when you're coaching, and with you, I believe it's primarily young people, certainly younger people that I'm dealing with. What's your process like?
Yeah, it kind of changes day to day, week to week. My biggest thing is just staying consistent with what I'm doing. So showing up no matter how I feel, putting in the work I need to, whether that be on the business side of things, which I also enjoy, creating the grind performance, building that, but also the coaching side of things. Whether that just be going to local events, being able to support athletes in any way I can and helping them on that side of things is huge. So a lot of our coaching sessions and our programs, we help athletes worldwide through our online platform, app, and community. So being able to interact with athletes, on our coaching calls each week, being able to help them within the community and interact with them and helping them develop those mental skill strategies so that they can, see the success they want, whether it be in their sports or off the field.
Well, and as you know, Zach, I'm smiling because so many things are coming to my mind, and we're almost out of time here, but a big thing is not listening to what others say, ignoring the criticism. I'm sure that's a big part of your work in coaching people and yourself. For instance, T. Will in Winnipeg says, yeah, I'm not taking any advice from Tony Robbins. Sorry. But Swerve here in Calgary says Tony Robbins made a lot of loot just by saying, you can do it. Tony Robbins saved Kelly Rudy's career in 1993. Kelly's told me about it. But do you think Tony Robbins cares what this guy in Winnipeg thinks? No. So that's the big one. Maybe we should end that. Not listening to people is a big one, Zach.
100%, Rod. I agree with you. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone's going to say something. But it's just finding the people in alignment with what you want that are going to help push you forward, help you grow, and get the results you want over the long term. So especially, not going too deep into it, but with the younger crowd, social media, it's never been easier to get into those negative headspaces, loops, and all that kind of stuff. So being able to, have a mentor to support you, or just that positive support system. And yeah, who cares what anyone else says? Just do what's right and keep moving forward.
Yeah, well, to our audience, I would not have Zach on if I didn't believe in him and know that he knows what he's talking about. So let's end on this. Where can they get a hold of you, Zach?
Yeah, so you can check out all our stuff on almost all social media platforms at The Grind Performance, or you can check out and find some more information on our website, thegrindperformance.com.
Good stuff, man. Keep in touch. Thanks for the time today.
Will do. Thanks a lot, Rod.
All right, Zach, mental strength coach in sports, which extrapolates to life very easily, or transfers to life. We're going to take a time out, and we'll get back into that topic that we just started before we brought Zach on. Your favorite all-time sports promotions, both good and bad. And are they really even necessary at all? We'll be right back to Grey Eagle Resort and Casino after this time out on the Game Plus Television Network, your favorite podcast platform, and WQEE, the Fringe Radio Network.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Can you believe it snowed again? There's a look at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. It's the spring that won't end, or won't start. The winter that won't end. I'll get to your comments in a moment. I think we're going to have a lot of fun carrying it over into hour two. What's your best and worst all-time sports promotions? Got a lot of people talking. Sports update on this Thursday. 6 Canadian teams are in action on the second to last night of the NHL season, as they call it the penultimate night of the regular season. I had to go literally to the dictionary to look it up. The Edmonton Oilers can claim first in the Pacific. How about that? With a win over San Jose, combined with a Vegas loss to Seattle. Elsewhere, the Winnipeg Jets visit Colorado. The Toronto Maple Leafs face the Rangers in New York. The Sens close up their season in Buffalo. The Montreal Canadiens host the Boston Bruins, and the Vancouver Canucks wrap up their campaign in Arizona. I'm laughing because the biggest Montreal Canadiens fan I know, Bob Merrier, was blowing up my phone today about how much the Leafs suck, how they're going to be bad forever. I'm like, at least they're in the playoffs, Bob. Zip it. The Toronto Blue Jays go for the sweep as they host the Detroit Tigers in the final game of a 3-game series. Chris Bassett going for Toronto tonight, while Spencer Turnbull gets the start for Detroit. The Tampa Bay Rays can tie a major league record this afternoon with a win in Boston. The Rays have won 12 straight to start the season. The record's 13, shared by the 87 Brewers and the 82 Atlanta Braves. The sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. Enter to win a movie night out at Landmark Cinemas. For movie lovers only, all you got to do is text MOVIE now to 902-518-3033. Winners will be picked every Friday to enjoy a movie night, courtesy Landmark Cinemas and the RPShow. Great folks over there at Landmark Cinemas, by the way. Have you noticed, guys? They're sharing our stuff, liking our stuff, and we doing the same. By the way, in theaters now, the Super Mario Brothers movie. While working underground to fix a water main, Brooklyn plumbers Mario and brother Luigi are transported down a mysterious pipe and wander into a magical new world. But when the brothers are separated, Mario embarks on an epic quest to find Luigi. Starring Chris Pratt and Charlie Day, the Super Mario Brothers movie is in theaters now. What do you got? 90 seconds. Okay, Rose is watching in Edmonton. She's talking about the Stampeders. I'm trying to put back to where we were 20 minutes ago. Darren was saying $15 tickets for Stampeders games will be for the worst seats in the house, but at least they're getting them in. Rose in Edmonton writes in and she says, Darren, every seat in that stadium's the worst seat in the house. You got a sound effect for that one, boys? How about that?
How about that? Spicy.
Thank you. Last minute of play in hour one. Glenn in Regina, Glenn with 2 N's writes, and he says the worst promotion was the Disco Sucks night circa 1979 or 80 in either Cleveland or Cincinnati or Chicago. A riot happened, blew a hole in the playing field, and the game was postponed. Brian Youngson is watching in Beausejour, Manitoba. Same thing. He says, Disco Demolition Night at Comiskey Park in Chicago, 1979. What a riot. And by the way, Wilfen Steinbach regarding the change in the playoff format, he goes, it should be 1 to 16. Better teams would advance in theory. Toronto or Tampa is going to be out in round 1. We'll talk about it all after this brief pause here on Game Plus and WQEE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Now,
How did this fly get in there? Somebody got a fly swatter?
yeehaw!
It was a shot of Prairie Jesus is really what it was.
It was.
You'd think we would be getting used to it, but we never get used to it. We never get tired of good things happening.
This life doesn't get old.
No. It was a nice little distraction from the real world, and here we are today for a coffee session.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It's hour 2 of your favorite, give it a good one, daytime sports talk show, and knocked the bell over in the process. Coming to you live from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino in lovely Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where it snowed again. I'm not even joking. Darren Moose Dupont joins us. He is recently back from Palm Springs, California. He's in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. What was the temperature, Moose, there in the rectangle when you woke up this morning? Tell me.
0, maybe a couple degrees below 0 this morning. Not what I was used to waking up to. Let's just put it that way.
Great hockey weather, let's put it that way. So for those that have just tuned in on Game Plus Television, hour 2 is at hand. If you're listening on WQEE, where we are Atlanta's NHL show, this is what we've covered today. NHL leftovers from Wednesday night. And I have to mention, there were 3 games last night. The New York Islanders officially clinched. Here's the interesting thing. All 16 teams have clinched. We know that. But the seeding is still to be sorted out over the next 2 nights. I don't understand why anybody would think we need to change the playoff format in the NHL. However, we have had an interesting comment come in from Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba, and I'm willing to listen to it. But as the intro said off the start, this show is so different than anything you're going to get anywhere else. And the good thing is, different is good. Change is good. But Jock Wilson came in here yesterday, Moose, in your absence, and he's like, this is just so nice to talk about the stuff that we don't talk about all the flipping time. Right? And we're going to get into that with regards to our what is your favorite and least favorite sports promotions of all time, because it's a very fun debate engaging with the viewers here. But the poll question for Key Auto Group today, and by the way, Key Auto Group has the largest selection of quality new and pre-owned vehicles in the Parkland area, cars, trucks, and SUVs. Your journey begins at keyautogroup.ca. Should the NHL adopt the NBA's play-in format? And I'm kind of getting a kick out of this because where did it go? Ryan Huber writes in and he says, I don't watch basketball, so no idea. What do? I'm sitting there going, are we in an echo chamber talking to ourselves, Moose? Again, Key Auto Group brings you the poll question every day. Key Chevrolet Buick GMC, by the way, is celebrating its Springtastic event with 3.49% financing on up to 60 months for the 2023 Buick Envision. Conditions apply. Go to keychev.com for more details. So just before we get to the promotions debate, the NBA, what is it, teams 6, 7, 8, 9 all play each other in one-game showdowns. It's kind of similar to the baseball wild card scenario where it was one game. They've now moved to best of 3s. But basically, if you're it's the 9th or 10th team, that's what it is, you have a chance to play in a one-game showdown to move up to the 7th or 8th seed. And it's just kept more markets engaged, more drama, and the Raptors lost their play-in game last night after they had a 13 to 16-point lead when I turned it on around the end of the third quarter, and they blew it and lost 109-105, which was the biggest Bulls lead all game, was at the end of the game. And the announcer, I believe, was Matt Devlin, who follows me on Twitter. Not a big deal. He goes, I don't like this play-in format. Yeah, exactly. But you can't beat the drama. So I voted yes. I think the NHL should bring it in. I'd like to see them go to 24 teams like they did in the bubble in Edmonton. But, again, I'm always the black sheep. Have I convinced you, Moose, that they should go to the play-in? Are you still voting no?
I'm still voting no, but I'm open to the discussion more than I was an hour ago. And the reason I'm still voting no is because these games still matter right now. The drama's still there. So it's not like we have a problem that needs to be fixed right now in hockey. There's no problem.
Fair. Well, I just think based on that format, the Calgary Flames would be in the Stanley Cup playoffs, or at least a play-in. See, I can guess what they're voting here. Oh, and by the way, Wayne in Victoria, BC wrote in regarding our interview last hour with Zach Krysak, the sports mental coach. Where the heck did it go? He just said, what a great interview. And I want to say thanks. Zach, I was on his podcast last week, and Darren knows me very well, so this will not surprise him. I went on his show. I don't know Zach. I hadn't met him personally. And I'm like, here's another guy trying to be a mental coach. And we're 20 minutes into the interview, and I'm like, maybe 10. I'm like, he really knows what he's talking about. He's good. And so I said, you come on our show. We don't bring on Rudy Poos. So we knew that he would be very good, and he is very good. So look him up, Zach Krysak. If there's you and another athlete are neck and neck, the mental coach will nudge you ahead. If you're neck and neck on the physical thing, and he or her are not using a mental coach, it's going to put you ahead. I will guarantee you that, because I've seen it work in my own family, seen it work with myself. Wayne said, "What a great interview, Rod," and he was. Okay, so to the real fun thing, the sports promotions, and I might do the Saskatchewan Roughriders a favor. and read on the air what their 10 themes were for their home games this year. I think it's a great thing. I'm pretty sure they borrowed this concept from the Rush, because I was with the Rush when this went down. But these promotions aren't new. I was always wondering why they hadn't done it for years, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And now they're doing the thing where they're giving away 5,000 hats for the first 5,000 and 5,000 bandanas. And I was lobbying for years that to happen because that's the way it used to be. But now, guess what? They're trying to get people back through the doors. Might have to work a little more. And here we are. Moose. So there have been several. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says Mardi Gras night in Ottawa is always CFL lore. And unfortunately it is, because the owner's kid, Lonnie Gleiberman, he's like the kid that I can stand, that I've been around. Like, I love him. Lonnie's a great guy. Bernie, his dad, owned the team, and Lonnie ran the team. Not for long, but it was... Lonnie was dating the cheerleaders and partying with the players, and he came up with the idea, let's have a Mardi Gras night where the women can flash it. Never been to Mardi Gras. So all I know is it involves topless people. Didn't go over that way. Have you thought of a few, Moose?
A few I've been to. The Blades do a lot of, Saskatoon Blades do a lot of really good theme nights, a lot. They do a really good Vegas night. Everybody dresses in the tuxedos. They have the casino games on the concourse. My favorite was always the Western night because I could put on my blue jeans and my cowboy hat to go and call the game. So the Western nights were fun.
That's good.
But here's one for you from Saturday. Got really lucky here. The Angels were giving away Shohei Ohtani at the game. So we got ourselves the Shohei Ohtani night. Bobblehead night, so we got really lucky. I always like when there's a little something like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, again, I've been saying it for years, and I think it's great that the Rough Riders and other teams are finally starting to do that. Like, you should see my place in Florida. To this day, I've got Florida Panthers Santa hats, scarves, sunglasses, keychains. I love it. Why wouldn't you do that? And the other thing is you throw a sponsor on there and not costing you anything. It's just...
That's right.
For the teams that don't do that stuff, I find it, quite frankly, very lazy. And Jeff the Stamps fan, do not get me going on this. Jeff the Stamps fan writes in and he says, you can't even get a program anymore. Darren's been with me at enough of these things. It just
I know.
Fries my grits.
Spicy.
And I could, arenas and stadiums all over North America, they don't. Some still do. Some still do. I believe the BC Lions do. Some do, but most don't. And it's just this, I need to back up a little bit. It is the Rod Pedersen Show, by the way, not Sports Center, so you're going to get my thoughts today. John in Winnipeg says, I don't think enough credit is given to the mental aspect of sports as much as the physical. No, it isn't. Do we want to sit and talk about this all day? Because I could. I don't know if you were watching the interview, Darren, listen, Colin Pedersen was on here, Stanley Cup champion with the Flames. Great guy. He told a story of the late 80s. The coach, Bob Johnson, brought in a sports psychologist. You know, but most people don't know my background on this, what I work in, professionally trained. I'm not talking bad about anybody, but Bob Johnson put up a sheet. Anybody who wants to see the sports psychologist, sign up your name here. Great idea, Bob, because everybody wants to tell the world that they're going to see a specialist about their noggin.
Yeah.
Right? So Colin Pedersen signed up somebody's name, but not his own, for 3 straight days. And I'm sorry, I can't remember who he said. Oh, was it Perry Berezan? He signed up one of his teammates' name. And everybody was laughing at that guy. Because, you got to go see a sports psychologist? Something wrong with you? On the flip side, whether it's the mental game or not, a friend of mine with the Winnipeg Jets said Mark Scheifele has a mental coach, a nutrition coach, a shooting coach who just happens to be Adam Oates. And this is when Paul Maurice was coaching him, and I said, well, that's a lot of coaches in his head, man. That's 3 coaches plus his own. And he goes, yeah, and he's having a career year. So it works. So that's all.
How do you argue with the results?
That's all. Yeah. On the country night thing, I laugh whenever I see, well, especially in Saskatchewan, any team that has a country night, because I'm like, every night's country night. Allie in Texarkana says, I love all those. She goes, I have a Pavelski bobblehead. It's one of my favorite possessions. The bobblehead thing is great. And I'll never forget at a Panthers game. I can't wait to get down there for a lot of reasons. But there was a gal walking around the concourse. She had about 6 Alexander Barkov bobbleheads. She's like juggling them as she goes. I'm like, hey, is it Barkov bobblehead night? And she goes, no, last game was, but do you want one? Like, abso-smurfly. Here you go. They're just so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one. Kevin, the medium. You know Kevin. He writes in. He says, I'm officially a Jets fan for the playoffs. You know, we covered this all an hour ago, but I'm down with bringing it up again. Do you have a second team in the Stanley Cup playoffs? You don't need to worry about that because yours are the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm sorry, I got to stop and go through all these comments from the viewers. It's a fun one. You can continue with your favorite sports promotions, good and bad. I've got a million. But Bob Merrier, I was talking about him last hour. You know my boy, Bobby. Sober coach to the stars. Bob only works with that real high-end, famous people. I work with the common Joes. But you know Bob, he's not shy of opinions. Do you want to know the exact thing that he wrote me, Darren, by the way, about your Leafs?
Yes.
Folks, just go Google Bob Merrier. Oh, man, where did it go? He wrote me a ton of... He's from Montreal, born and raised Montrealer. Actually went to high school with Craig Button, as I learned. Here it is. The Leafs, here it is, just out of the blue. I'm looking forward to a Leafs first-round exit, my Stanley Cup. Oh, and he says, I'm off to Toronto to intervene. So he's going to Toronto to do an intervention from either Montreal or South Beach. That's where he lives. He says the Leafs will never win a cup with this soft bunch that's improperly built. A few years from now, we'll be witnessing a real juggernaut. He's talking about the Habs and says they acquired Tavares and screwed their rebuild beyond repair. They won't re-sign Austin Matthews.
Hot take.
I didn't even reply. I did not even reply. Bob, go do your intervention and stop. But that's what happens when your team misses the playoffs. You got to start trashing, I guess. And your coach and GM positions are set, so you know nobody's not going anywhere. Martin St. Louis and Kent Hughes there in Montreal, they're already looking forward to next year. And that sucks. If you're a team that has nothing to play for right now, and you have no drama. You have no off-season drama if you're Montreal.
None right now. None. Now you sit back and hope the lottery balls work in your favor to get Bedard if that's going to be a thing. But you're happy with the young core in Montreal, so I get it. Like, there's no stress there. You're not, I mean, it sucks, but there's no stress. So you can sit back and sit there and be like, watch the Leafs fans, you know, riddled with anxiety going into another first-round series with Tampa Bay.
That's entertaining. That's highly entertaining. Absolutely. From T. Will in Winnipeg says, sports psychology is a game changer. I think that's kind of like The Secret. You know, the book, The Secret, the app, The Secret. Yeah. It's why it's a secret, I don't know. It shouldn't be. But if once you get serious about your mental game, you'll never go back. It'll never be the same. Rich in Edmonton says the teddy bear toss for the Western Hockey League. Great way to spend a night before Christmas. Oh, and I got stories about that. I mean, we asked the fans to bring a new or slightly used toy, stuffed bear, right? And as soon as the home team scores, throw it on the ice. Well, when I was the play-by-play announcer for a hockey team that wasn't very good, we had the teddy bear toss. Fans are sitting, we can't score. We couldn't score. They like that. Talking about hockey. People would come to the game and sit on their stuffed bear all game long. There's getting to be like a minute left. We're losing 7-0. So then people just walk down to the glass and toss it on the route. You're not going to score. I'm leaving. You know, that's happened a few times. We'll take a timeout and be back with more. Dean Ducky Millard coming up a little later on in hour 2 to talk Oilers. We're live from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on Game Plus Television, YouTube, and WQEE, the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Live look in, a nice morning at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. They all are. First day of the off season for the Calgary Flames. How about that? We'll look ahead to tonight's games in the NHL in a moment. And my NHL top 5, bottom 5, I promised that we would do that. We got to get to it in this segment because it's Moose's last. But he's in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. Let's bring him in. People not totally on the concept, Darren, of the sports promotions, although my guy Mick is watching in Toledo, Ohio, where we're very big in Ohio on the Buckeye cable service. He's watching in Toledo right now, and he says Disco Demolition Night in 1979 happened between games of a doubleheader versus the Detroit Tigers. After a hole was blown in the field, the White Sox had to forfeit the second game. So he's got that down. Brian in Beausejour, Manitoba brings up Jets 1.0. That's the 70s, 80s Jets. Had a tuxedo night when the Habs came to town. And, of course, the famous playoff whiteouts, which still continue in version 2.0. That's cool, but that's not where they that's not where they sit around the table. And I've been in those meetings. I'm going to get triggered. Darren, talk me off the ledge here. Where we talk about the theme nights. I'm going to take you inside a sports organization, okay? We sit around the boardroom. We would do it in the off season. They would get a couple boxes of donuts or maybe some Sammys. And we go, hey, next year, let's do this. What about this? What about that? You know? And I would say, why don't we have a theme night every night? And they're like, no, that's too many. We have 36 home games to market. No, but who cares? It's fun. It gets people talking. But it ticked them off. And I'm going back and forth between hockey. They didn't want to do it. It was, I believe, too much work. I remember when I was like on my knees begging the team that I work for, can we please do programs? We don't do programs anymore. Well, we can't sell them. Our advertisers aren't dying to be in our printed materials. That was from a guy named Bill that worked for the team. And I'm like, who cares? Well, they're all on their phones now. They're all on their phones, Rod, to get the rosters. Going on your phone is a pain in the ass in an arena that's full and the Wi-Fi is slow. But again, I had to just give up. I had to give up, man, because they're getting angry at me. It's not like it used to be. It's fan appreciation. And listen, it's not just the teams I work for. I was at a Leafs game, a home opener a few years ago, and I'm doing laps around Scotiabank Arena looking for a program. And I finally stopped at the information, and I said, where can I get a program? And she's like, we haven't had programs for years, bro. Am I just a dinosaur that I care? Like, I'm not going to go on my phone. So now I'm in protest. Damn it.
Well, I know. Now you're in protest and you're not even going to look it up. But, you know, the program thing shifted because you just said advertisers don't want to be in there. People don't want to pay for them. So they were a revenue source as much as an entertainment source. But the mindset hasn't flipped. It needs to flip where, okay, this is no longer a money maker. This is something we are investing in to increase the game day experience. It's now a commemorative, collectible item that we're using to, you know, enhance the game day experience. So they haven't got there yet to consider an expense worthy of their budget line. But man, I like the program. You like the programs. Now you see the yearbook. That's kind of what they sell maybe in the souvenir shops is the $25 or
not every team does though.
Team yearbook. No, they don't. You're right.
Well, I'm just seeing that COVID obviously kicked sports in the groin. And some came back robustly, some leagues, and others have not. So I find it highly entertaining that a lot more work's gone into more marketing here over the last year for some leagues and teams that they just kind of got complacent on over the years. Dougal in Calgary watching says the Calgary Roughnecks always have a theme with giveaways at most games, if not all. The Roughnecks are home Friday night. I'm not quite sure to whom because it's only Thursday. I will look at the email that I get from the NLL every Thursday promoting the weekend games, and I'll see. I don't even know who they're playing. Maybe you do. But I've seen the ads everywhere. And it might be Western night or it might be party night or some blinking thing. But what I know is the place is going to be full. 18,000 people will be there. And is that because of the marketing or because it's a party? I don't know, but they're selling out every game. They are doing something right. the Roughnecks. And that used to be that way with the Rush in the NLL, but not every team. But the NLL does it right, I believe.
Yeah, they do. The
Did I lose
NLL
him?
does a really good job of that. Yeah, they do a
I
great
thought
job.
you were like,
I didn't know if that was the end of the thought, but they do. The Roughnecks, great. It's the whole game day experience. You know, I was thinking the other promotion I was thinking about, like the whiteout. You said that's not really a promotion. That's something that happens. They put the towels out, and sure, everybody gets a towel. That's a giveaway. But again, I go to the Blades because I spend so much time with them. But they did a partnership with the SPCA, and you bring your dog to the game. So you talk about best and worst promotions. The first year they did that was the best and the worst because it was great. They had the section in the end zone. You came in on the bottom, and the dogs were there, and it was awesome. So much cuteness. What made it the worst is I don't think in year one there was a plan for cleanup on the concourse. So that was an unforeseen problem. By year two, though, they had that worked out, and it's been awesome. But that was fun and unique.
that's a great one. And somebody wrote in here, was watching here from Toronto, and brought up that the Argos had one of those here within the last couple of years. Bring your dog to the game. Who doesn't see disaster written all over that? And I'm not really a pet person, but here's the one thing. My friends that I'm visiting in Chestermere were walking around the dam there, the lake, I guess, Chestermere Lake. Stopped, and two dogs met, and one just jumps right up on me. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, not a dog person? Not when I'm almost tackled by one. It's like they don't get it. Oh, you're not. He hates dogs.
Yeah.
No, only when they're slobbering all over me. Rich in Edmonton, regarding the programs and so forth, says, it's like tickets on your phone, Rod. Give me a printed ticket to hold in my hand, for God's sake. I'm not necessarily there with you on that one, Rich, because I can't remember the last time I bought a printed ticket, and it's fine. How old are you, Rich? Because this is what I'm really starting to think, Darren, is I do feel sorry for the old people, because I know a lot of people that still have flip phones. Shoot, I know some people my age, well, I guess that's old, but let's say 40s that have flip phones, and you're not getting an Arrive Can app if you're traveling on that. You're not getting your airline boarding pass on your flip phone. You're darn sure not getting your tickets on your flip phone. So I don't have a flip phone. I have what's called an iPhone on my cellular phone. It's from Apple. So I have it, but not everybody does. I wonder how those people, do they just not go to the games? I don't know.
Yep.
Your dad's got an iPhone, doesn't he?
He came over to the dark side, and he finally got an iPhone. Loves it. Uses it all the time. I know now, you can get a printed ticket, but it's extra work. You got to go into the box office. You might even have to pay an extra charge now to get a printed ticket, and it's definitely not a commemorative ticket with a cutout of the team logo and the players' faces on it and stuff like that. It's just a plain old rectangle Ticketmaster ticket.
Jack in Vulcan, Alberta writes, and he says, Harold Ballard didn't want to put players' names on jerseys, so fans had to get a program to look them up.
How about that?
I never met Harold Ballard, but holy smokes, have I heard a million stories from my friends that have and played for him, like Wendell Clark, Lanny. If you can just look past the fact that Harold Ballard was jailed for certain things, white-collar crime, by the way, Darren, not crimes against person, as they say. That guy might have been ahead of his time. Actually, probably was ahead of his time. And I think, what did I say the other day? The Sutter old-school values, as my brother the Cowboy says, when all's said and done, that's the only thing that's going to be left is the old-school way. But boy, are we taking a long time to get there. And I think he's right. Allie in Texarkana says, I missed the programs. I kept all of mine for the Stars. My kid is going to hate cleaning out my storage building one day. Yeah, but I will say this. I look at the Blades getting, 14,000 and change for playoff games against the Pats. Regina sold out all those games. I look at I said the Roughnecks here are sold out. The Flames are sold out. So what do I know? It's not deterring anybody from going to the games, by the way. I guess people are just following the teams and getting their coverage differently than they did before. You were saying, because I promised we would talk about the junior playoffs for a second, the Saskatoon Blades are going to play the Red Deer Rebels in round 2. They're not going to get anywhere near the crowds that they got for the Pats. What's your outlook for that series in that vein and on the ice?
Yeah, I think, if you can do 6,000 to 8,000, you'd be pretty happy with that second round playoff series. If you can push 10, that would be really great. Red Deer's not the same draw. I even think, I know it's not Bedard. If it was Prince Albert, you still would draw probably closer to 10. But it'll pick back up. I think there's a lot of new fans that are tying into this Blades team now and joining the bandwagon for the playoffs. And on the ice, Red Deer's a good team. They're well coached. They're more physical than the Pats are, so they'll pose a challenge. They're really good defensively. Ben King's a player that's been around this league a while. He's got some high-end skill. I'm interested to see how he does in this series. But the Blades did take 3 of 4 in the regular season, including both of the games in Saskatoon. So they do have the edge, but it should be fun.
Yeah, well, with my Pats out and Bedard not playing, I'll be following to see, I guess, who won from a night-to-night basis, but I'm not getting in front of my screen to watch or listening like I was last round. And I'm pretty sure SportsCenter and Sportsnet Connected are not going to be showing the highlights like they were when the Holy Child was playing. Jen at the Four Seasons writes in, she says, people bring their dogs to the Regina Red Sox games all the time. I have a dog and 3 cats, and I would never bring my dog to a game. It would be distracting. For you, yes. But at least at that ballpark, Curry Field, you can go take your pet to relieve themselves. You know what I'm saying? BMO Field, yes. SaskTel Center is a little different. Like I might stay home.
There's no drainage on the concourse.
Right. Bring your pet to the game night. I'm sick tonight. Jeff, the Stamps fan, asked if I was going to the Calgary Stampede tarp auction tonight. I have an invite, ironically, on my cellular phone to the Calgary Stampede tarp auction tonight. I may go. Waiting to see, might be coming down here for the seafood buffet tonight, Moose. And I'll see if I'm feeling up to going to the tarp auction after. I think you're done, Moose. We're done. Ducky Millard's in next. Any last thoughts for your adoring public?
No. Again, happy to be back on and enjoy. If you go to the tarp auction tonight, enjoy it. I remember it was great last year. And I'm excited for this Oilers playoff run, man. So this next segment will be good.
Yes. Thanks, Moose.
See ya.
We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. When we come back, Dean Ducky Millard, longtime Edmonton broadcaster and host of Oilers pre- and post-game on TSN 1260. We'll be back in a moment on the Game Plus Television Network, your favorite podcast platform, and WQEE and the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad. Now you can join the team with your very own RPShow gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show. Official RPShow gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG. Always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy. Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time. I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Just a couple housekeeping items, as they say. Tomorrow, Calgary Stampeders VP of Business Operations and Stampeders alum, Jay McNeil's going to be with us right here on the set, on the stage bar. And by the way, be tuned in next segment. Our NHL top 5, bottom 5 for Bet Regal. We'll be ready to roll. I've brought the robe. We're ready to go. Rich in Edmonton writes, "Let's go Oilers." And for that discussion, we've brought in Dean Ducky Millard. And Dino, it's been too long. Everybody's just partying, and I would think going nuts up there. Tonight, with things going right, the Oilers could clinch the Pacific Division crown, the pennant. Did you see that coming going into the year?
I thought they certainly had a chance. I remember the last time we talked, it was right in the middle of a dip, and the sky was falling in Oilerland, and people were freaking out. And here they have a chance to go in on a 9-10 game heater into the playoffs. So it's so funny how this changes. Honestly, I thought Vegas was going to be the Pacific Division leader from the start of the season. Not that the Oilers had a chance, and if things went right, they would have a chance. And lo and behold, here they are. I think this is an excellent situation for this hockey team that's gotten hot. I think the addition of Ekholm has certainly steadied things on the back end. There's still some question marks, but this is kind of where I thought this team would be near the end of the season, contending in a playoff position, certainly bidding for home ice.
What a lesson that is, by the way. Do you remember what they were upset at that time? Because I do, but I wonder if you do. And it just tells you how much we should pay attention to the fans, or if anybody should.
Was it the goal? I think it was partly about the goaltending, and I remember Evander Kane wasn't playing, so I think people's expectations for what the team was doing weren't realistic at that time. They were struggling, but they turned it around. And you asked me one time earlier, do the Oilers have Stanley Cup goaltending? I still don't know if they have Stanley Cup winning. They might be able to get to the Stanley Cup final, but only if the matchup brings them up against certain teams. Like, they don't have better goaltending than Connor Hellebuck and the Jets, I don't think. I'm not sure if I think they're probably even with Vegas. So they have the pieces. They could get to the Stanley Cup final, I think, with the right matchup. And then if the East beats each other up, maybe it's a coin flip. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, all it was at that time was that Ken Holland wasn't doing enough to his roster ahead of the trade deadline. That's really, and goaltending was part of it. But Matthias Ekholm was the thing that he did. And let's be honest, it's turning out to be a pretty good move.
It's amazing. I remember people were freaking out. Why hasn't he done anything? Why hasn't he done anything? Well, the trade deadline hadn't happened. There had to be different moves to be made. Lots of teams were in the same boat. And I know my good friend Craig Button said, why didn't they go out and get Jacob Chikrin? Why did they go out and get Matthias Ekholm? And very rarely will I ever point out that Craig is wrong, because 99.9% of the time he is right. But this one, Ken Holland got it exactly right. Matthias Ekholm has been exactly what this team needed. I've long since thought he is one of the most underrated and underpaid players in the league on that Nashville blue line, where they all got all kinds of stars. And what Ekholm has done is really settled it down. Do they have the goods on the blue line? I'm not sure. Like, this blue line certainly isn't as good as 06. And 06 was the last time this team went to the final. They had Chris Pronger on that blue line. But this blue line is much better with Ekholm. It's much calmer. He's providing some offense. And listen, I think that this Oilers team, the way they are going now, goaltending aside, they got all the pieces.
Rich in Edmonton wants to know if the Oilers are going to rest stars for this game against San Jose tonight.
I don't think so. If I was them, I wouldn't. I think if there's something to play for, you go for it. If not, if there was nothing like the Flames game last night, then I could see it. The Leafs are resting players. But if there's something to play for, you play for it, in my opinion.
Okay, you've got the Jets finger over your shoulder, and I guess I forgot that you're a Brandon guy. Are the Jets still your number one?
There's a Wheat King thing up there too.
How they doing in the playoffs?
I'm a Jets. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tough year for Marty Murray there in Brandon, but they'll bounce back. Listen, I grew up an Oilers fan as an Andy Moog fan. And then when he retired, and I became a Jets fan because that's where I'm from. I can't wait to see a Jets-Oilers matchup if that happens, because my wife is an Oilers fan, and it'll be interesting times. But listen, I think that the Jets have the goaltending, the blue line, and they certainly no team matches up with the Oilers forwards. But I think the Jets, if Connor Hellebuck gets hot, they can be a deadly team. They've got deep down the middle. That's what you need in the playoffs. They've got a good blue line. So I think the Jets are a team that not enough people are talking about. Obviously, you're going to talk about Vegas. You're going to talk about the defending champs. But the Jets can be a sleeper, I think, in the playoffs.
Well, you mentioned the one thing, goaltending, and Hellebuck really bailed them out the other night. And I don't know what was with that swoon, that dip. I mean, everything happens for a reason with this team. But Rick Bowness has done a tremendous job. Some teams fold after that. They don't come out of it. And the Jets did.
Yeah, and like, it could have been a coin flip. Like, we could be talking about the Jets like the Calgary Flames right now. Like, it could have easily went the other way. Something clicked, obviously. I'm not sure if everything is copacetic in that dressing room right now, but something clicked. Everybody got together. And you said it. I think Rick Bowness is a tactical coach that could come up with a game plan in the playoffs. Remember, he was with the Dallas Stars in the bubble. So I think this is a good coach for this situation. And Roddy, the West is so much different than the East. Like, how many 100-point teams are there in the East? Don't you think the West is kind of up for grabs? Like, I think there's 4 or 5 teams that could legitimately come out of the West. Whereas in the East, I think they're just going to beat each other up, and who knows? But I legitimately think Dallas could get hot. Obviously, Vegas, Colorado when they're healthy, the Oilers. Like I honestly, and even the LA Kings. The LA Kings might not have the skill to score, but they have the players to be able to defend and shut down in the playoffs. So the West is much more interesting for me because it's much more wide open.
Well, there were guys a year ago pounding their fist on the table saying Colorado, Tampa going in. And that's what happened. I don't see anybody pounding their fist on the table proclaiming who's going to be in the Stanley Cup final this year. And that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think that's what you want, right? You want, and especially for the teams, you want every team going in. You know, I remember 04, the Flames were the 8th seed. 06, the Oilers were the 8th seed. 07, the Senators were the 8th seed. And I think they all went to the Stanley Cup finals. I'm not sure if we're going to see an 8th seed do it again, but I think the West certainly, because, you know, it's such a crapshoot, and the East because there's so many 100-point teams, you can't really say pound your fist. It's definitely going to be these teams. I mean, you know, the Rangers made a bunch of changes, but I'm not sure the Rangers are a playoff team. When you talk about building a playoff team, I like what the Oilers have done. You got Kane, you got Hyman, two guys that can muck it up. I'm just not sure about those Eastern teams in those battles where they don't have the toughness. And I look at the Rangers as one of those teams.
Well, we're a week away from the chase beginning. Dean, always good chatting with you and seeing you. Thanks, man. Enjoy the hockey. Let's do it again this spring.
You betcha, Roddy. Thanks very much.
Dean Ducky Millard checking in from the City of Champions. Our NHL top 5, bottom 5 is next. It's our last of the regular season for Bet Regal. It's coming up next. Plus a sports update and audience takeover. We're live from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on the Game Plus television network, your favorite podcast platform, streaming, and WQEE, the Fringe Radio Network.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time. Big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Hi, everybody. We back, and as you see, I've got the Bet Regal robe on. Coming up, our NHL top 5, bottom 5. Just 1 second before we do, I'm gonna shovel in a sports update. Sorry, guys, if that throws you for a loop. But the Toronto Raptors are cleaning out their lockers today following Wednesday night's 109-105 loss to the Chicago Bulls in the NBA play-in game. Zach LaVine led Chicago with 39 points. The Bulls advanced to meet the Miami Heat on Friday. The Raptors begin a long offseason. 6 Canadians teeing off at the RBC Heritage today in Hilton Head, South Carolina. They're well underway. Adam Svensson, Mackenzie Hughes, Corey Connors, Nick Taylor, Adam Hadwin, and Taylor Pendrith are all competing for the tournament's $20 million purse. Jordan Spieth is the defending champion. This sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. Enter to win a movie night out at Landmark Cinemas for movie lovers only. All you have to do is text MOVIES to 902-518-3033. Winners are picked every Friday to enjoy a movie night out this weekend. Okay, hang on. Let me get my everything ready to go. It's time for the weekly NHL Top 5, Bottom 5 for our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal. Sign up and start playing for free today at betregal.ca. The number 1 team in the National Hockey League. Duh. It's the Boston Bruins, the best regular season ever. The question is now, was the President's Trophy a jinx? Only they will find out. Number 2, it's the Edmonton Oilers, everybody, the number 2 team in the NHL, the winners of 8 in a row, legitimate Stanley Cup favorite. Number 3, the Carolina Hurricanes, 51 wins, 111 points, 111. Visualize a positive outcome for Carolina. That could be a Stanley Cup, but they are the Rodney Dangerfield of the NHL. If you don't know what that is, look it up. The number 4 team in the NHL is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Where's Engelbert Humperdinck? It's now or never for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think he sang that song. Number 5 team is the Vegas Golden Knights, as far as I'm concerned. They are my West Conference favorite for the Stanley Cup. To the bottom 5, the 28th team, the Montreal Canadiens, they gave up 2 weeks ago. Number 29, the Chicago Blackhawks, playing hard, but they're bad. Number 30, the San Jose Sharks, 5 losses in a row. They're officially waving the white flag. Number 31, the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're actually still trying for some reason. They are 32nd overall in the NHL, but they have not even been able to lose right. But Anaheim has. They're the worst team in the NHL, 32nd overall. In our rankings, they've lost 12 in a row. I'd like to think this is by design. There's your NHL top 5, bottom 5 for our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal. Thank you. Play along, and I can't wait. That's our final regular season edition of it. We'll be moving into the playoffs next week, and watch for details of our Stanley Cup playoff draft over the weekend. Follow our social media channels for that. Well, a lot of what we went through today was not planned, and that's the best way to go about it. Glenn is watching in the Queen City regarding, and I don't know, blame me for this. I don't necessarily know how this came up, but just the topic about needing to be a digital fan now versus the old school fan. You know, you can't print, well, you can print tickets, but you got to pay for it. You don't get programs anymore. You got to look on your phone. If you don't have a phone, you're screwed. The bottom line. Glenn says regarding the printed tickets, there should be both options. But I was really ticked off that my Grey Cup tickets were digital and I did not get a souvenir ticket. Signed, Glenn. I hope the CFL is paying attention to that, because it's like if you're going to pay $400 for a ticket, I didn't even know they didn't give you a printed ticket. That's shameful. From Ryan O'Radio says, another great show. Thank you, Ryan, here on Atlanta's NHL show, the RP Show, WQEE 99.1 FM. I'm missing something, and that's okay. I usually am. Did they not understand, Allie, what I was saying about Rodney Dangerfield? I'm realizing that my references are becoming quite old. I'm quite old. Oh, it was Elvis that sang It's Now or Never. Okay. Thank you, John Ohm. I guess I'm not that old. It was recorded in 1960 by Elvis Presley, the King. I thought it was Engelbert Humperdinck. There was a couple of old school references there in my top 5, bottom 5. Rodney Dangerfield. He was the comedian that didn't get any respect. God, I would have loved to have seen him live. Bingo. Oh, my God. There are so many. I was just saying Rodney. I mean, there's so many I can't even say them, but he was Rodney Dangerfield, a stand-up comic. I was a bedwetter. For Christmas, my mom gave me an electric blanket. But I don't get any respect. You like that one, Clark? Terry watching says, Oilers playoffs are all about bottom 6. Oh, bottom 6 forward. Yes and no. You need your top guys scoring too. Been my experience. Free tip right there. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, yeah, last minute of play in the RP show. John says, you're missing your crown, Rod. It never did show up. I never did. And maybe it's sitting in Florida somewhere. They shipped it to Florida. That doesn't help me today. The Florida Panthers, by the way, need to get past. Are they playing Colorado? We don't know yet. Or Carolina? We don't know yet. There are 2 nights left in the NHL regular season, and only one Stanley Cup series in round 1 is set. It's the Leafs Lightning. But we got to get Florida into round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs so I can get down there and watch them live myself. Allie in Texarkana. Great show today, Rod and Moose, RP Squad. Hope you all have a fantastic day. It's a Football Friday tomorrow, but we will also have Mike Wilner from the Deep Left Field podcast. I appreciate the Rodney Dangerfield quotes. People are writing in. We don't have time. Maybe tomorrow, noon Eastern, right here.
Who has more fun than us?